Welcome back to the Stag Roar podcast. This is episode 309. A wee snippet here from the Sika show. It was a pleasure actually to be joined by Dre, Anto and Dave from the Hunters Club, Red Stag Timber Hunters Club. Of course, their Series 9, I think it is out on Sky at the moment. And if you miss it on a Monday night, you can catch up on the Sky website and app, Sky Go. That's what I've been doing every few nights when I get a spare time, sitting down on the couch, enjoying what the lads have to offer. They've had some awesome stuff so far. Sika, red deer, fallow, duck shooting, and of course this Monday is the goat hunting. So if you've got access to some goats, get out there, get the tails, enter those in. You could win some awesome prizes thanks to the NZDA and DOC. So without further ado, let's get into this awesome yarn with the lads from the Hunters Club. Make sure you're following them and enjoying some of their awesome content. Cheers.
Gentlemen, yeah, I was just saying the old iPad's a bit to the shame with Dave beside me. Although, how's Cam's camera after falling in the creek?
That's well dead, that one. Yeah, insurance job.
Yeah. I wasn't actually there, but Anto was. But just watching the footage play out, like after it all, was pretty hilarious. Cam's got a great knack of having a few foibles in those hunts. He's always got something comes back. It's never unscathed.
Yeah.
What is that like, Dave? Losing the camera in the drink?
I've lost the drone in the drink recently on a duck shoot. Actually, yeah, ducks is probably the hardest on gear.
You
ducks
lost
and
two
pigs.
drones on that trip.
I lost two within the space of 2 hours.
Yeah.
I flew into a tree and then turned Antos into a submarine, but we got it back to life by putting in the hot water cupboard. So they're pretty resilient, these newer drones.
Bag of rice or no?
I don't know what we did. It was something along those lines. But yeah.
Amateur hour over here. I've just realised I'm talking into the back.
It's an easy thing to do. Having watched that rugby this morning, we're all a bit bloody
bit shaky
down in the dumps.
Yeah, it's like it's got this, like the adrenaline was so high for so long, and then now you're living it's just so weird. Anto's been saying as I walk over here, it's like it's hard to sort of bounce back. You need to get some momentum and get show ready again, But far out. Yeah.
Is that pretty similar to seeing a big set of antlers that are nice and long down the scope, and then you look in and then there's no bays and trays, and you go, fuck.
It's just the same feeling when we walked out on that Sika after getting so close. We went over the side, he roars, he goes this way, we played this little bloody game of cat and mouse, and walking out when we realised that's it, we've lost.
Final whistle, it's like
the final whistle.
That's the end of the game, like that's Sika for us anyway for the rest for another season. So
we've got a year to wait, but AB's got another 4 years to wait, so it must be hard on them. But
yeah,
from the Humble Amateur over here, it's good to see you guys not getting the result. How long have you been scoping that area out, Dre?
We've been hunting, around that part of the world or part of the country for a while. Several years, in fact. Off camera and on. So, we knew the area relatively well, in a sense. But Sika hunting, there's no guarantees. It's like you might have a name for the animal and know where he lives and pisses, but that's not going to mean that you're going to be able to get in there in the rut and put him on the deck. And I've got a knack of having these vendettas with different animals around the country, almost to my own detriment. Like I can't let him sleep in the sense that I've got to get him, and I've come off second best now probably 6 years in a row. So I kind of know I can have some sort of appreciation what probably some of those All Blacks are going through. It's like, and then to add to that is like getting around with the old bow and arrow becomes almost a little bit laughable. I've copped a few bloody chips this week, going, oh, when are you going to shoot something with that damn thing? So hopefully Monday night's episode's going to
redress the balance.
Give me a bit more tide in my direction. But
how was the transfer, Anto? Like up on the tops down south and then into the thick shit.
Yeah,
getting acquainted with Supplejack.
Yeah, I've been up in North Island a bit. It's certainly a massive change. It's two major things that hits me the most is the fact that you do run into people, so it's a bit of a mind shift. Because I just don't see anybody in the South Island. Like, I've been hunting down there my whole life and maybe bumped into people once. Every time I'm in the North Island, I'll see multiple people. And then it's just the sheer scale is so much smaller, and I think I tend to cover way too much ground. It's like the density of deer, particularly with the Sika, is really high. Small area that they're inhabiting, And yeah, you just got to break it down so much. Like, it's a smaller terrain, but you got to do everything with way more thought process. Like, it's pretty easy in the South Island compared to the Sika. The Sika in that scrub is just hard work and mentally challenging. And trying to get out of somewhere, you can drop down quite easily on top of some of that scrub, and then all of a sudden you're trying to climb out of it, and it's just energy sapping. So, yeah, you question why you do it. But then as soon as you leave, it's like Fiordland when it's pissing down with rain. You go, why am I here? But as soon as you leave, you want to go back. And that's what Sika's about for me. It's just, you really want to go back, despite it being probably the most horrible experience of your life at the time.
And the thing with the Sika is that if you watch the episode, the only Sika that got shot when I wasn't there, because it shows that the camera does complicate matters massively. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you guys are sort of bouncing around and you see this spur, that spur, this spur, that spur.
Well,
this side of the creek, that side of the creek.
Yeah, exactly. So there's all of these things, and Anto sort of touched on it there. Like, there's this, there's a physicality to hunting for sure, but there's also this mental component, and depending on like the type of hunt and the species you're on, they've got different draws of that energy or that mental energy. And Sika are right up there because you're at these kind of peaks, like for big chunks of the day. Like, you're not covering a lot of the ground physically, but just being in that like mode for extended periods of time is super energy sapping. And then throw in the scrub, it's problematic. But we've been lucky. Like, we've got a good mate out that part of the world, Dan, and he's he's a real legitimate sort of expert on the species, but also like the game management side of things. So, we're super fortunate to have a guy like him to call on, but also sort of get in the bush and the scrub with him, and cast some of his expertise over what we do. So and Damo and Morgs too, some good mates of ours that are based out in the Hawke's Bay. So it's always a good laugh for us, even though the hunting's super challenging. It's quite a good time to connect and catch up with mates and stuff like that too. So, and to do it with the show with Dave, it makes it even more worthwhile. But definitely not any easier, that's for sure.
Do you feel like you've lost Morgan to the North Island? Will he ever be back down south, Central Otago? Big open tops.
He certainly comes down and hunts with me regularly, and there's no doubt it's probably his happy place is the South Island. I think anyone that's hunted the South Island really enjoys the ability to see animals regularly, anticipate the hunt, not necessarily execute it, because you physically can see everything going on around you. So once you're into that North Island component, it's just it's a different world. But anyone that talks about Sika, they talk about that deer being different to all the rest, and from my perspective, there's no doubt. Like, even whitetail on Stewart Island, like, the bush is so much more forgiving. Like, anywhere, that Sika country's like nothing else. It's,
and we're at the NZDA stand here, and you guys are going to be on goat hunting this week.
Yeah,
that's a different species again.
Yeah. It's actually, we've set a record for fast turnaround. We filmed last week, and it's be on air next week.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to touch on the good initiative that Doc have introduced, along with NZDA and all the support of the Federated Farmers and whatnot. So, kind of a nice chance to shine a light on something positive.
How was that filming that goat? Is that the drone right into its?
Yeah, No, it was quite fun. But like normally with big game, I'm always like, "Can we put the drone up? Can we put the drone up?" And the boy's like, "No, we'll get closer and we'll drill it." And I'm like, "No, it'll be awesome if we get the drone up." So the goats is a bit more like, okay, Dave put the drone up, and if we spook the animal, it's not the end of the world. So we're able to get a bit more cutesy, indulgent with my shot list of fantasies. If I want to get a reverse shot with the bullet going through and the goat dropping and all this jazz. So,
we had like Anto, I think early in the season Dave was pretty keen to get that drone up, and we spoiled a couple of opportunities. So we were just like anti-drone. And it was sort of in joke, David. I think he actually like legitimately had. He was like, the drone's an option here. We could, get him up on his feet and then hurt him. And I was like, no, that's off the table. And but the reality is that you can't capture any like the stuff that we do unless Dave's got the eye in the sky and getting the angles, because otherwise it kind of, in some cases, it almost makes the sequence. Yeah. Because it gives you the perspective and Dave's doing some pretty tricky stuff there with them at the moment. So
the first ever the pilot we shot. Bloody 10 years ago, we hired these guys the next day after we finished the hunt to come along. They had a big octocopter 8-bladed monster, and it took 2 men to operate, and we reenacted a whole lot of stuff. The guys were walking up the hill, walking down the hill, walking along the face, and they'd fly this drone, and we get like 10 minutes flight time, and we got like 7 or 8 really good shots. And I was like, awesome, we'll do that on every shoot. And then like within like 2 months, DJI started releasing these prosumer models, consumer models. And I was like, I don't have to pay 10 grand extra per episode because I don't have to hire these guys and a whole another day of shooting. So it was a good time to start with the aerial filming.
Yeah, absolute game changer.
And how are the goats down south? Are the skippers still chocker full of them?
There's 50 fewer now.
Yeah. There's no shortage of goats around, but there's a lot of really strong management around them. Like Doc does a lot, the local landholders do a lot, and then there's obviously the foot hunters out there doing their bit as well. But there's no shortage of goats, particularly down south at the moment. But they tend to be reasonably well managed. I think it's one species that everybody agrees upon that they need to be controlled. Like they've got some positives, like they're obviously a good eating animal as well, and they are an adversary when you hunt them in the big terrain. Like where we were hunting them recently, it's no mean feat to get in there and hunt them. Like it's big country. Like if somebody,
it's like full-on mountain
like if a
hunting
Sika
for
hunter
goats.
come down to there, they'll be like thinking this was tar hunting. Like it's big country, but obviously you're not being so selective around what animal you're after, so you sort of just make the most of whatever opportunity pops up. Any goat is good to put down, which makes it kind of enjoyable. It's a big change from evaluating everything. It's just the positive aspect of just taking any of them down is it's encouraged.
When I was editing, when we first saw this big mob of goats after like an hours long climb up this ridge, you started saying, "Oh, yep, no, that's a mature group. There's a couple of takers in there," and as per normal, I'm editing.
The rings.
That's a good little piece of audio. I'll cut that here, drop that in there, and builds a sequence. I'm like, hang on, he's taking the piss. It's just like he's just going to drill everything. If it's brown, it's down.
It's cleaning it up.
But there's actually like that. I mean, I've been sort of banging on about it all week while Dave's in the edit. But like, it's a big deal for like the NZDA, New Zealand Hunters, and that collaboration is huge. Like we really, I'm singing from the treetops about it because, having a hunter-led, incentivised kind of approach. Like in my opinion, that's really, without getting too political about it, but that's a legitimate answer to resolving some of these issues. Like if we as hunters can show that we can put a real decent dent on these on the ground on foot, well, like hey, like that's maybe a legitimate route we should take for all of our game management, and rather than burning millions of dollars and putting stuff that we don't want in an environment out there, like, incentivise it and get hunters out there, because there's a massive upside. Like I really enjoy it. Like it's good times with the boys. We had some pretty big luxuries. To be honest, we were like back country. And mate Hamish was hosting us. Beautiful back country hut. We were wining and dining in a spa and cooking up bloody goat on the Traeger. Like it was a good trip. But like that was a awesome take home from it. It was really enjoyable. At the same time doing some management.
Yeah. Now you guys getting 5 seasons out to the world. Is that right?
Yeah, we just released the first 5 through a kind of video on demand service. We decided time for the US and buddy ever overseas that email us all the time asking, "Hello, what's your show?" So give them a platform to view it. We've been throwing the odd bit here and there on YouTube, but yeah, it's nice to collate it all into one place.
Yeah. And they've been contacting you on the socials and the website, or like?
To be honest, mate, I'm so stretched editing and filming at the moment. Like the social side, falls by the wayside.
Well, it's hard because it's like mid-season in terms of the stuff going to the air. So one of our other mates, John, that's helping David, like we're sort of pushing it in between those episodes airing. So you can simply head over to huntersclub.co.nz and the streaming service is there for your taking. You can buy the whole 5 seasons, or you can just pick off each season as you want. Pretty express price, really, but it's just the ability to share all that stuff to the wider audience outside New Zealand.
You probably want to avoid the bow hunting ones with Dre because they tend to be a bit more walk in the park stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So there's something there for everybody, I guess. But it's actually, I was just looking at some of that stuff the other day, just thinking how far we've come in terms of not only our own maturity in front of the camera, but just what we're doing. It's quite cool to the change and how the show's progressed. So it's cool to see that.
Do you have a record for the beat button, Dave?
They're definitely on Spearos. These boys aren't too bad. South Sea Spearos is shocking.
Yeah, right.
The language that comes out of those
Pirates.
boys' mouths. Yeah.
Do you have to watch it fall through when you're doing your voice, or?
I generally try to, just to get the sentiment of the edit and the script, because sometimes, like in the early days, I'd just be like blindly in Sky Studios just talking to a piece of paper, and they're not kind of realising like the tone or the sentiment of what Dave was kind of putting together. So the inflections and the ups and downs, but even also just matching the voice to what's actually playing on screen. So now we've got a bit of a system, but I'll look at the drafts like fully through just to get an idea. In some cases, Dave will like pre-VO it just to kind of give the sentiment to what he's trying to get across, and then
especially if there's like a dad joke or a pun that needs to have a hit. You need to hear it.
David actually incorporated a few like references to different music and artists, and like there'd be like singing components or lyrics as part of the voiceover, and I tried to actually sing them but they were so terrible. I just took them out. That just doesn't work. But yeah.
But my favourite swearing incident was with Dre last season. We were at bull hunting up in the snow, and Dre fired off on a 350 metre shot, but he was just high.
550, mate.
That's got a 650. Anyway, and I left the camera rolling, and he was sitting there by himself, and we're all kind of like at peace with it. We'd kind of done our bit, we'll carry on. And Dre sits there, and he sits up, and he's just talking to himself under his breath. I hit the record button, and he's like, I don't know what I did wrong there. Just bloody took a breath, and then it just held for like 3 seconds, and it almost looks like it's a static shot that's just something's gone wrong. Then he just goes, fuck. And it was just a beautiful kind of like 5 second, 6 second long shot. Normally I'd never hold a shot that long, but I just knew it was coming. And fuck. And it was one of my favourite moments.
Yeah.
Just beating himself up.
Can't take those bullets back, eh?
Yeah, see, Anto doesn't have any of those moments. He's just like, I'm a cold-hearted killer, man. Like every bullet that finds the mark, and I'm just, I'm spraying them all over the hillside.
Tuned in on those big ones, eh?
Yeah, I've been very lucky, to be fair.
Yeah, there's the goat. I was actually genuinely impressed with mate. That shot at the that long-range goat last week was incredible. Like that's the other thing too. Like they are a legitimate challenge when you think about it. Like we will hunt big game species, and body size of them significantly bigger than just like the old billy who's 2 foot off the ground, and you're talking about a vital that's a dinner plate, less than a dinner plate size to kind of test your marksmanship. But it's a good opportunity to do that on the goats.
Confidence building.
Yeah.
On the dad front, where's Yuli and Dan? How they at?
Well, yeah, they I guess Yuli's busy. Oh, you mean in terms of being dads, or?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
we're all dads now.
We're all dads. Yeah.
Multi-dads.
Multi-dads. I think we've all got a few.
Yeah.
Like I've got a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old. And
2, 3, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, funny. It was after the show. I got sort of dragged down to reality yesterday. I had to wrap some stuff up here and head back home to drop some stuff at the SCI guys, and Anna, my wife, was at home with the kids, the whole weekend. And for her, that's probably just a nightmare. It's like, oh, you're away hunting or doing stuff for the show. And I walked in home, and there was just screaming kids running around and kids, break. And I was like, oh, kind of just brings you down a peg and go, oh, that's right. I've got duties to do at home and whatnot. So, yeah, dad life's. I'm enjoying it for sure. Yeah.
And the kids are nearly there. They're interested, or?
Oh, my 5-year-old fizzes on it.
You were testing out the shotguns.
Yeah, and it's hard to juggle whether he loves his fishing or his hunting more. But it's hard out when I probably underestimated his abilities. And you got to step back and let them grow as they wish. Like when they're asking to take the rod and do their own casting, you're thinking, oh, you're going to bugger up this fish. And then you're like, what's the worst? You bugger up the fish, and then once they cast, and then he starts telling you he's going to let it sink, and you're like, man, this guy is listening to everything.
Put it this way, the whole dynasty of outdoors and hunting is in very good hands.
Yeah. Oh, it's mad. Like he was talking through like how to fish to my old man the other day. My old man comes down and stays quite regularly, and I was like, this is nuts. Like this kid is better fisherman than most of my mates. And he's 5.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for him to hit 10, and then we can put this
put
him out to pasture.
I can't wait just to sit behind the spotting scope and just watch it all happen.
Go recover that deer.
New host. Although you might have to get past child labour laws there, Les.
Here's your 30-kilo pack, boy. Let's go.
Yeah, on the walking thing, how do you guys find it? We took our 8-year-old and 5-year-old for an 8K the other week, and I was just like, oh, you girls did it. Like, well, maybe we can go to the bush.
Hey, they're super resilient, eh? Like, when we were living out at Waihi and Waihi Beach, like, my girls, they're not super engrossed in the hunting component. I don't really push it with them, but in terms of, like, getting out in the outdoors and doing stuff, yeah, we were clocking up some serious Ks there with my daughter, who was 5 at the time. She wouldn't even bat an eyelid at a sort of 10 to 15K pack in and pack out, so, which is quite cool to see. But my opinion of it is, like, if you just normalise it, then it's not a thing. It's like, it's not. I find that a lot with some mountain hunting and some of my mates in the North Island that want to go down south. Like the fitness and climbing and walking component's quite a big deal to it. Like the deal to actually going and doing the hunt rather than focusing on the hunt. So my take with the kids is like, let's just do it so that it's normal. Like going on a 3-hour walk is just part of the job. Or just part of going out in the outdoors. But no, kids are super resilient. I took them in. I flew the kids into. To my I can just almost sense my wife rolling her eyes right now, but like decided, let's do a kids' school holiday trip midwinter. Flew them into the Kaimanawas, and it was absolutely freezing. But they're so resilient, man. Like, they didn't miss a beat. They loved it. Rugged them up, and they had a blast. Coldest weekend of the winter, 2022.
Winter blast.
It's literally winter blast, dead of the season, and didn't hear a peep out of them. Like, they loved it.
No, the kids are motivational. Like, when it's raining on the weekend and I'm thinking, yeah, sweet, kick the legs up and watch some TV. My boy's just like, let's go do something. And then you're like, it's raining. He's like, we've got rain jackets. And you're like,
nice.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, we actually do have rain jackets, because if you get softer, the older you get. But like, that concept of being wet and stuff's just not a real thing to a kid. Like, it's just a thing you deal with and move on. So I think as adults, and we're not, well, I don't know if I'm adult yet, but you can look at them and you actually learn from them and let them guide the way. Like, make it their journey, and they'll tell you how far they want to go. And that's the way I sort of roll with it. I certainly don't push them.
They probably won't realise it now, but there's some resilience to build out of that they don't even know about now, that'll hold them in good stead in the future.
Sorry.
But the secret is always taking 3 pairs of clothes. Because as soon as you get near water, right off that whole set of clothes, the gumboots, the boots, the clothes, you just... you've just got to be more prepared. Like, don't even try and stop them. I
remember walking my daughter. We was finishing work late, and I was like, we'll still go. She really wanted to go on this tramp, and there's a bunch of other friends. And I got back to home quite late. It was like already dark. I was like, we're going, knowing that we would get to the hut at like 11 o'clock at night, and it started piling in, pissing and rain. And we did. We made it to the hut with my 5-year-old, and the hut was kind of full of people.
And then Sifs got in touch.
And we roll into the hut. I walk in with this 5-6-year-old and soaking wet, and there was no room in the hut, so I've had to crash outside, and I've just sort of taken a swab out from underneath somebody and shoved it in front of the fire and put it there. And in the morning they woke up. There's a 5-year-old kid sleeping by the fire, and one of them had thought that she'd walk. This kid had just turned up the fire herself, but I was just outside sleeping on the deck of the hut. But again, it was just she didn't bother her. The others at the hut were sort of like, wow, this is kind of crazy that there's a 5-year-old kid in here soaking bone wet. But you're right, probably could have resolved that by taking a few extra layers and some dry clothes.
We've been talking about doing a father-son, father-daughter type mission for a while, and I think we're almost at that point now. The kids are getting old enough. My daughter came on a hunt last year and loved it. So
she's the star of the show, finding all the
crayfish.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, speaking of 11 o'clock, lads, it's 11 o'clock, so you better get on to your next sponsor and appointment.
I think we're out at the Traeger tent eating bacon and
you'd have
roast
to get
goat.
it, mate. Yeah, I was going to say Darius
appointment.
from With Wilds doctored up some awesome goat there, so that'll be worth getting down and tasting that. But yeah,
Have a fee. Thank you so much, lads.
Cheers, man.
Cheers. Thanks, Dave.
No, awesome, mate. Thank you.
Too easy, brother.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So